This might piss some people off. Just stick with me here, okay? Stick with me. Remember, y'all, when it comes to my videos too, I'm webby, I'm a spiral. In order for you to get the fullness of what I'm saying, to really understand it, you need to stick with me from beginning to end. So you cannot be the mother of New Earth, which I am, Ashtyn Monea. Monea stands for Mother of New Earth, without being High Priestess. But I look at High Priestess and I'm like, this is a lower level. Like, I look at High Priestess and I'm like, meh. There are people who pedestal themselves as High Priestess, okay? And people will look at me and go, oh my God, that's ego, that's your ego. You're like, you are making yourself more than High Priestess. Well, guess what? I am more than High Priestess. I've been a High Priestess in multiple lifetimes. And there are women who are calling themselves High Priestess that aren't High Priestess. There are women who are trying to elevate themselves above, who have no reason to do so, most especially when their position isn't earned. They're just naming something that they don't actually occupy. So, okay, High Priestess, what does this mean? Okay, you've got a strong oracle, prophecy, you've got womb magic, you understand sex magic and womb magic at levels that the new age and otherwise spiritual communities, they're not going to know. They're not going to know it, y'all. Why? Because this is sacred knowledge and ancient wisdom. This has been written, but when it has been written, it's been written in a way that only those who were a resident match for it could receive the information. So right now, I'm reading a book because it was guided. As you all know, I don't tend to read. I am a channel. I'm meant to stay in my lane. I receive information through the avenues that I receive information. But when a book is guided to me, I'm allowed to read it. I get really excited when I'm allowed to read something. So I'm reading something, and as this woman who is the author of the book is piecing together information from other historical and otherwise text, I know the meaning behind the words because I'm living it, because I have access to that sacred knowledge and ancient wisdom. That's not common knowledge. And these are things that I'm doing to an even higher degree and higher level than it was ever intended. I birthed the New Earth container. Okay, connecting oracle and sacral, third eye sacral, right? Oracle and womb is something I've been doing my whole life naturally. So naturally that I didn't know that other people weren't living like that. This is where you come in from prior lifetimes, having actually been initiated through temple. And then not only have you done that, but you're retaining the information, you're remembering the information, you are actually living it here in this life. And because you're continuing to take that sacred knowledge and ancient wisdom that you were initiated through into new times and new lifetimes, right? You are the thread that is extending that information into new forms, which means higher evolutionary forms. So when I say, I look at, the term High Priestess and I go, cool, and it's a lower level than I am. So when I look at someone who's pedestaling it, like it's this like, oh, I'm on my High Priestess high horse, and they're not occupying any of the sacred knowledge and wisdom. They're just perpetuating patriarchy, reversion, and then calling themselves a High Priestess. You're not standing in the temple with me. You're not even allowed outside of temple doors. You don't even know where the doors are. And trust, there are actual doorways and corridors. And if you are a High Priestess, you would know these doors because you would have been invited into them and you would have walked them. Even in this current day and age where temple is not happening in the same way that it used to happen. It happens in a different way, reversioned, but it's the same thing. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You may not be, and that's okay. If you don't, that's okay. If you do, that's great. So Monea is a reflection of taking that sacred knowledge and ancient wisdom among so much more. So much more. And over lifetimes, weaving these threads to make it possible for New Earth to come to be. I've been on a mission out here for a really long time. For a really, really long time. And way longer than before I arrived to Earth and I had lifetimes as High Priestess. Way before. So I've taken all of that and then I've elevated it into an entirely new form that most people think is unimaginable, not possible, right? They think, oh, she's coming from some egoic place. She said she birthed the New Earth container. Think what you think. I am what I am. Like, nothing's going to change that, right? So I have the oracle, I have prophetic visioning, I have the capacity to create through my womb in ways I've never witnessed anyone else to the levels that I'm speaking to, such as Monea, Mother of New Earth, Birth of New Earth container levels, and then some. And so why am I speaking to this? I'm speaking to this because I'm talking about utilizing spectrum and hierarchy. Okay, we are believing that hierarchy is patriarchy. False. That's false light. There's true hierarchy. We saw this in temples. In temple, there was a hierarchy of priestess. You had to go through your passage of rites. You had to go through initiations intensely to obtain particular positions in consciousness that then you could truly claim High Priestess. And then within High Priestess, there are also spectrums of where you're resting in your capacity, capabilities, your skills, your creative capacities, your oracle, your ways of utilizing and applying consciously creative powers, which would be viewed as magic. So there is true hierarchy. See, true hierarchy is when this comes from a place of truth. Where do you occupy the spectrum in truth? This isn't about putting other people down. See, what patriarchal hierarchy does is it turns it into competition. Where I stand is in competition to where you stand. No. True hierarchy is simply truth. I stand where I stand because this is where I stand. You stand where you stand because that is where you stand. And each of us acknowledging in truth where we stand does not diminish either of us. It actually supports both of us in understanding more deeply where we stand and where we can go, where we can lead, where we can learn, right? What we can exchange. I can be in, let's say, the larger scope of a generalized form of consciousness. Boom, I'm here. I'm a leader of New Earth. True. This is what I am. And you can be here. Okay? We're in the spectrum. This is truth, not ego. This is truth, y'all. In generalized consciousness. But in this particular area, your area of mastery, you are meant to exceed me. You are meant to know more than me. You are meant to have unique experiences throughout all time, space, and creation itself, including this lifetime, that is meant to supersede me in some way, some form, in some time frame. Period. So there are spectrums of hierarchy within other spectrums. Remember I said you have coming up a spectrum to even earn high priestess. Then within high priestess, there's another spectrum. Now I'm talking about how we can rest in whole collective embodied spectrum of consciousness. And that doesn't mean I know everything more than you know. No, it means that I am further along. I am actually occupying, I have a larger container. I'm occupying more of creation in general than you are. This is what an old soul is. This is what an old soul does. And, I could slow down my process of evolution and my container would not grow. And then maybe your container of consciousness grows and now you're superseding me. Or maybe I am having my first lifetime on a particular planet or in a particular dimension. I'm not going to have the larger container of another person who has been in that dimensional space for longer than me. But outside of that dimensional space, I may have had more experience within creation itself, and I'm occupying a larger container. Do you see what I'm saying, y'all? This means that it's not, I am always here. You are always here. I am in competition with you. Me being here means you are less than. No. That is patriarchal hierarchy. And where we allow something that is false to lead us away from something that is true, we are allowing illusion and infiltration to lead us in the wrong direction. Why would patriarchy want you, this includes false light, y'all, because false light is a part of patriarchy. Why would patriarchy want you to not be able to identify where you are and where other people are? Well, they don't want you to know who the true leaders are. Raise hand, here I am. Ha ha, here I am. Right? We've got idiots in leadership positions. They're puppets. If you were able to identify what true leadership is, we wouldn't have idiots leading falsely. And because patriarchy has utilized hierarchy to take power from other people, to control people, to manipulate people, rather than be in devotion to creation itself and invite people into higher consciousness and grow and expand side by side each other, people are not seeing true hierarchy beyond what they have experienced as patriarchal hierarchy. And then they go, unity over hierarchy. That is false light. This is a polarity jump. I watch people do polarity jumps all the time. I'm a master integrator. Remember, I'm seeing the full spectrum and I know how integration works. So people go, oh, it's not that thing, so that means it has to be this thing. No, it's and both. But in a higher evolutionary version that removes the illusion and allows original blueprint in this case would be true hierarchy, to exist. We keep throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and then all we're doing is deepening into the next version of illusion. I am here for truth. So people get me all fucked up and confused because they're not able to see beyond the illusion. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying is untrue, right? Like people would think because I speak to hierarchy, I'm trying to control them or disempower them or be manipulative, and I'm not. I'm not even in any way. But it's because they're viewing me through the old illusion and lens and those patterns that they can't identify truth when truth is in the room with them. This is what I mean. We cannot hold and own our true power without having true hierarchy. It's not possible. So people who go unity over hierarchy is false light. You are now polarity jumping from hierarchy to unity to disregard hierarchy as an element of creation, which it is, which means that you are negating truth in exchange for illusion. In New Earth, we are honoring each and every person's unique experience. It's sovereignty and togetherness. Hierarchy illuminates mastery. It illuminates where we are on a spectrum of consciousness, including within the realms of our own mastery. We are each keys and puzzle pieces to the larger collective whole. That means that true hierarchy is in service to unity, not against it. And we're going to need to understand this if we are going to move into New Earth. I'm already seeing the new infiltrations that are trying to prevent our next evolution. So if you guys have walked through the new cage and you've held and had your discernment, this topic that I am speaking to is a new version, trying to block because of the wind, is a new version of false light and infiltration. Do not fall for it. This is the same game repeated as it's been repeated before. I'm here for New Earth, and I am here for truth, and I am here as an illuminary to ensure that we don't fall into the same traps that we've been falling into. I love you. If you have gained value from this, then know that you can provide where you have received. I'm calling in the sacred figure 8. So where you receive, you give. Where I give, I receive. This is a New Earth code. We want money going into higher consciousness. We want money to go into new paradigm, to new paradigm creators and New Earth leaders, because we want to take the value system that patriarchy has fucked up, and we want to place it in the arenas where true value exists. So if you have received value from this, then please do visit my link in my bio to provide. Any and all amounts are accepted. If my work, my words, and my person resonate with you, then I encourage you to look at my website for my current offerings. This includes my intensive process. Step into the portal if you are ready and willing, devoted, and committed. Much love.